It's another side that like wants to take more, wants to go that one more round, because like going that one more round when you don't think you can, that's what makes all the difference in your life. You know what I mean?
Welcome to another episode of One More Round, the Rocky Series podcast. I am your host, and with me today, of course, is the lovely Kyle and the handsome Katie. How are you guys doing today?
Wonderful. How are you?
Doing okay. I just finished a 12-hour shift, so if I'm a little bit punchy, I do apologize. I work 12-hour shifts. They're long. It is long sitting in front of a computer station. I can't say what I'm doing, but sitting in front of a computer station and just for 12 hours. It's just, yeah, it's long. Okay. It's good to be here. Kyle looks like I look like for 12 hours. Kyle, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Made breakfast for the kids today. The family, really. My son is being very rambunctious. I can hear him upstairs. Hopefully you guys can't hear him too. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good. And I'm going to my mom's place tonight for my wife's birthday. Her birthday was earlier this week.
Oh, how nice.
And is that your mom who just commented there?
Yeah.
Mama Peterson. So she just said,
Mama-san. Do you know where that comes from, Mama-san?
No.
Okay. In the Vietnam War, that's what the guys used to call the old Vietnamese ladies in huts. That's what the American soldiers used to call them, as Mama-san. And it's also a World War II thing, too.
I think it's great that she has a nickname. I think it's great. I think it shows her humor. It shows. I like that. I like that she has a nickname, and that's cute. It's fun. So thank you, Mama-san, for watching us. She says, making funeral taters for dinner and listening to my favorite podcasters. Life is good if you do it right. That's very sweet. Thank you.
Are funeral potatoes like a tater tot casserole type thing?
It's not like tater tots. It's like kind of hash brown potatoes.
Okay.
And it is like a casserole. It has like sour cream and cheese and other stuff in it.
It sounds nummy.
Yeah, it does.
Is it considered a Mormon dish there, Kyle?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
That's what I thought. Okay. All right, everyone. Welcome to the show. We got some emails to read. Only a couple, so not too many. If you're listening to this and you've already heard some of the thoughts I've shared about something, I won't belabor the point too much because it's on the podcast feed. So if you see on the podcast feed something titled, "Is Capitalism Ruining Rocky?" or is it the Rocky Spirit? I can't remember what I titled it. It was something I did on a whim. It's like a 9-minute video. It was something that was percolating in my brain. And I was just like, you know what? I've got thoughts to share on this. And I just wanted to share my thoughts. And I knew it was going to cause I knew there'd be people in the Rocky camp. And I've already received word from some people in the Rocky camp who weren't happy with my thoughts. So long story short, Stallone went to Philly, held Rocky Day. Hundreds of fans showed up. Everyone had a good time. Fans went home. Yay, Bob's your uncle. Okay, that's the surface experience. It was a success in that people showed up by the hundreds. Sly was there, took photos with people, okay, and everything. Here's where the controversy is, and it's been confirmed by what I observed, what I've been told, and what I then produced, and then the responses I got back. Is there was in the Sly Stallone shop, Kyle, there was a contest that if you enter the contest without purchasing, you didn't have to purchase, you just had to enter the contest, sharing your email, whatever the registration required, and you had a chance to win a picture with Sly. That's the contest. And so again, on the surface, what a wonderful experience for someone to get. You got Joe in Alabama and Susie in California. Anyone had a chance. And people in the UK, I had people that from the UK actually reach out to me saying that they too joined. So people from the UK entered the contest. Long story short, all the winners were people that were handpicked. They were handpicked by Agent Nick. He handpicked the winners, and there were people that were Sly Stallone shop supporters, people that tagged the store, and people that were local, and people that Nick knew.
Hold on. Is that public knowledge?
Sure. No, okay. It's circumstantial evidence, okay, at the very least. Okay. Meaning I knew 3 of the winners. I have
so you're saying like the odds of those people getting picked would be so low that
Well, what were
Well,
the yeah? What,
how
yeah,
many
what are the
people were picked? How many people were picked? And
I
didn't they
don't know the number. I don't know the
change? They're like,
number.
one day they're like, oh, there's going to be 20. One day, oh, there's going to be 10.
Right.
Wasn't there something like that too?
Yeah, let us know in the comments, folks. I actually don't know, Kate. I don't know the actual number of people that went forward, got a picture slide, came back. For example, Chevy Chase was one of those people. So obviously he didn't enter the contest.
Oh, really?
So,
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
But that being said, I personally knew through social media, like I knew 3 of the people that won. Somebody messaged me saying they knew 4. So what are the chances that random people happen to know? It should be you knew nobody, because if it was truly from the UK to California to Germany, all these people around the world entered the contest. Even if it's just 100 people, what are the chances you would know 3 or 4 of those people that won?
Yeah, pretty small. I agree.
That's right. So everyone, that's the circumstantial evidence. So everyone in the circle, and they're all people that Nick, who runs the Sly Stone Shop, knows personally. Okay. So I talked about that in the video. I'm talking almost longer now than the video. So I talked about that in the video. Then there's other stuff. So check out the video. It's on my Facebook. It's on the YouTube channel, and it's on the podcast feed. So you can listen to the video at the very least.
It's really good, you guys. Ryan, you really did. You're always very respectful, but you do a really good job. Like, you should almost be an attorney, I feel like, because you're really good about keeping to the facts. You're very respectful, but you point out some really good things. And it was a fantastic video. So I recommend everyone watch it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I won't say the individual, but somebody very close to Sly and somebody who I've interviewed for the show, I will say that all they said to me was interesting video on Facebook. Maybe I'm reading the tone wrong. I don't think he's saying interesting as, hey, that's really interesting. Cool. I think it was more like interesting. Now, it's what I have observed. It's the world that I live in. I am not trying to hawk anything on Sly, so I have no agenda. So it's what I observed, and it's what I feel. And if I'm wrong, then give me evidence to prove that I'm wrong, and I would love to see it. And then I'll reshape my opinion. But as of right now, the comments worldwide seem to be on par with what I shared. And I can't believe the video's been shared. Like, it's been shared 26 times from our Facebook group. That's pretty cool. So it's getting out there. The word's getting out there. So I should have plugged their podcast. I didn't even mention the podcast.
Oh, maybe they got curious and they're like, who's this Ryan or Vulcan guy?
Yeah.
Actually, if it's shared, it was shared from the Facebook group. So that's fair. So people, would see.
Ryan, I was expecting something a little bit more conspiracy theory-ish. That seemed, what you said seemed awfully reasonable. It seemed suspiciously reasonable. I'm having a hard time poking holes in it.
That's why I did the video outside of the podcast, because I just wanted to get my thoughts out, not without interruption, but without interruption, just raw, how I felt, and just put it out there. But I also was thinking about you, Kyle. I was like, I don't know if Kyle wants to talk about this. So, anyways, because I don't
mind. As long as we're not talking about this for 45 minutes or something.
But no, I think that's all there is. We'll leave it at that. So share your comments, and we do appreciate it. Okay. So Katie, you've got an email.
Yes, we have one from Michael from Screen Nerds Podcast. Hey, y'all. Firstly, I hope Katie enjoyed her time in Nashville. I'm from the Nashville area, so anytime people visit, I hope they enjoy their time and see what a great city it is. Yes, it was a fantastic time. We were there for a party, so it was that type of Nashville time. But I did go to the Ryman Theater, which was cool. Then he says, regarding the episode, we see how seriously Apollo is taking Rocky's training and how he wants Rocky to approach it with the same level of seriousness. This is evident, especially in the sparring match where Apollo yells at Rocky, emphasizing that Clubber will kill him if he doesn't pull himself together. It's interesting to juxtapose this scene with the next film where Apollo doesn't take Ivan Drago seriously, and we all know how that ended.
How did that end up?
Good point. Yeah, good point. It also makes you wonder how the Apollo in Rocky 3 would have fared against Drago. Keep up the good work.
Boy.
Great
Are we
work,
doing that
Michael.
one now?
Yeah, I think in the previous podcast, there was some discussion about the Apollo from Rocky 2, who is basically the same as Apollo.
Yeah.
Both like pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
How he would have fared against Drago. And I don't know how that fight would go down, to be honest with you. I think Apollo probably would still lose, but it would be pretty competitive still.
And I think I stepped on you there. We said it was from Michael, again from the Screen Nerds Podcast, a very faithful emailer. And he also emails us like right away. I guess he watches like these things live because he emailed me like the day that we recorded.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, if you're listening, hi, good email, good work. I think what happened with Rocky 4, a couple things. I think Apollo was a little more distant from retirement, so he didn't have the same retirement demons. Plus, I think he also had that fight with Rocky where he won the fight and his demon was crunched. Like he's still the champ in his mind. And I think the other factor is that because Drago was not a professional boxer in his mind and was a foreigner, he didn't give him the level of respect that he would have given Clubber, who was like more like him in the sense that they're both professional boxers and are in the same boxing caliber.
I agree. Additionally, Apollo, what gets him every time is his ego.
Yeah.
Right.
He wanted to do it for the wrong reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Great insight. Thank you, Michael, again for that. Now, I do have I'm going to summarize this because it was a long comment on YouTube, but it's a little bit, but I want to respond to it. And I feel bad because it was done like 2 episodes or 3 episodes ago from Andre. He faithfully watches the show, and I missed this because I think it's worth discussing. So this is the summarization of his comments. So bear with me. Andreas expresses frustration with our show that we repeatedly, according to him, misinterpret the concept of Eye of the Tiger in the context of the Rocky movies. Andreas argues that having the Eye of the Tiger means being willing to sacrifice everything to achieve a goal, not just displaying fury. They point out that in Rocky 2, Apollo Creed lacked the Eye of the Tiger because he was living a lie, losing touch with reality, driven by pride rather than true determination. In contrast, Rocky had the Eye of the Tiger as he was willing to sacrifice for his family and fight with true determination. So that's what he's saying, the difference between the two. Andreas lastly emphasizes that the Eye of the Tiger is about the mindset and commitment one brings to a challenge, not simply looking tough or talking trash. Now, this is where I had a bit of a beef with him.
I don't like this, to be honest.
I think maybe he misunderstood us because I don't think we ever said that the Eye of the Tiger was just about being mean or tough, like in the sense of, yes, definitely the countenance, because we talked about how Rocky, yes, we did mention that he did look a little bit like, is that him? Did he really show up? That's him. We did mention that. So that's not really an Eye of the Tiger moment. Yes, you could argue that Rocky was willing to sacrifice, like that idea. But I think Eye of the Tiger, again, is just the idea that you're on the prowl. You're on the hunt. You are a predator. And Rocky did not look like a predator at the very least at the beginning of that fight. Now, he trained hard. Anyway, so I don't think we ever mentioned it was about trash talk or about that kind of thing. I think we just mentioned that Apollo, at the end of the day, he still looked and acted and trained like a tiger, like a predator. Thoughts?
I guess I always assumed that we equate, or I do, and I feel like you guys do too, equate Eye of the Tiger with being hungry, so to speak.
Yeah, maybe hungry. Yeah.
Okay, so I think there's a couple elements to Eye of the Tiger, which frankly we have to guess because it's never spelled out for you, which is fine. They don't have to spell it out. It's not a criticism of the film. Okay, so Andreas, first of all, I feel bad for saying I didn't like his email. That's a fine point to bring up because I think it is a little subjective of what Eye of the Tiger means. I do agree that it involves determination, but I think a theme of the show too is that Eye of the Tiger, like you have a certain toughness to you based on the environment that you're in. Like they really focus on that in the Rocky films, that Apollo wants to bring Rocky to Skid Row in Los Angeles and have him train old. Basically strip him of all the luxuries that he's currently living in, which is one element to Eye of the Tiger. Basically not sleeping in silk sheets, not being soft like that, which I think if you're going to argue that Apollo and Rocky 2 didn't have Eye of the Tiger, that might be why. Because he was still living civilized, even though he was like, otherwise he has the Eye of the Tiger though. Like that guy, Apollo, was determined to beat Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
He trained his ass off and he was pissed. I don't think there's anything more he wanted than to beat Rocky. And I don't think the reasons you have for doing something necessarily influences your Eye of the Tigerness unless your reason is something superficial, like just money.
Mm-hmm.
Apollo wasn't doing it for the payday or something like that. He was doing it for his own well-being. That's how he defined himself, as the champion and the best, and someone challenged that. And that shook him to his core. So I'd say, other than the environment factor, Apollo for sure had the Eye of the Tiger, whereas Rocky had the environment. Like he had a little softer environment than he had in the first film, but he still lived like pretty much like a normal person. And then he probably lacked some of the drive that Apollo had. So I think in actuality, neither Rocky nor Apollo had 100% Eye of the Tiger. If you think of it in terms of a continuum of 0 to 100,
Mhm.
I'd say like they both had maybe similar levels, but they had strengths and weaknesses in certain areas.
When it comes down to the actual fight, and I think even the announcers do state, and I think this
Right.
comes into play with Eye of the Tiger too, like it's a battle of wills, like who wants it more. That
Yeah, we don't give
Isn't
enough
that
credit
in
to
the
the
song? The Rocky Four songs? It's a matter of will.
oh
when they-
yeah, it is. It
It's
is.
the
Oh, yeah.
passion that
It kills.
kills.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
call.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of which, Kyle, I love ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT, I said, ChatGPT, look at these lyrics and tell me what Eye of the Tiger means, according to the lyrics. Okay. The lyrics of Eye of the Tiger by Survivor convey a message of resilience, determination, and the will to overcome challenges. The Eye of the Tiger refers to a focused, determined mindset. The singer describes facing difficulties during their time and taking chances. The repeated references to rising up and facing challenges indicate a commitment to overcoming obstacles and not giving up. The thrill of the fight and being a survivor suggests the idea of facing and conquering adversities. Overall, the song is motivational, encouraging a fighting spirit and the strength to persevere in the face of challenges. So really, according to the lyrics and according to that summarization, which I agree with, it's pretty standard lyrics. They both had the Eye of the Tiger. They both rose to the challenge and fought each other, did their best. They gave it their all. I don't see where either one of them didn't really have it, really.
Apollo had the option presented to him. You could beat him on points,
Right.
which from a boxing only perspective is a totally legitimate way to beat someone. If he just knocked Rocky around that last round, they would have been like, okay, Apollo run like say 12 of the 15 rounds. He clearly dominated Rocky during this fight. He's the champ.
Right.
But Apollo's, you know what? I'm putting all my cards on the table. We're going to slug it out this last round and we'll see who wins.
Talk about rise up to the you're right about the ego, but ego isn't always necessarily bad in that sense. It blinds him to the win.
He could
Yes.
have won.
But like Kyle's saying, that's a legit way to win. But for Apollo, his personal challenge, that was Apollo.
Yes,
that was Apollo.
Suppose.
Yeah, that was Apollo's round 14, or going the distance, I should say. That
Okay.
was, he knew he could beat Rocky on points. I won, but I didn't beat him. That was the whole point. He already knows he can win. He doesn't want to repeat Rocky 1.
That's a good point.
I know I can beat him. I'm going to go toe to toe with this guy because I need to beat him, not just win.
Yeah, and he says in the corner, he doesn't say it that loud either. It's easy to miss. He says, it ain't going to be like last time. It ain't going to be like last time.
Oh,
Yeah, great stuff. I love
good points,
I
you
love it.
guys. Good job.
And you too, Katie, of course. Okay, that's it for email. So send us an email, folks, if you want to be a part of the show, or a great comment on YouTube. We do get some good comments on YouTube, but that was worth referring to. And now, Andreas, yes, we do love your comment, and nothing's wrong. You're not wrong. We're not wrong. If you want to be like diplomatic about it, it's just interpretation of
He's a bit wrong.
what. Yeah. Well, yeah. Look, I don't have a lot of listeners on this show. I'm trying to salvage.
You know what? You know what, Ryan? And here's a take. Businesses do it too, but if you try to please everyone, you end up
I
pleasing
know,
no
I know,
one.
bro,
So you
I
got to
know,
take
no.
your takes, and some people aren't going to like
We
it,
do.
and it is what it is.
We definitely do. We definitely have our listeners are very faithful. We have driven off a few listeners in the past. Greg the First, are you still there?
Oh, I forgot. Oh,
That's Ryan's Eye of the Tiger is finding out what happened to Greg.
We chased him right out of this podcast. Holy
There's going to
smokes.
be like a reunion when they're both like 75 or whatever.
I like the
And they're
guy.
gonna-
He just hated our take on Creed, or Michael B.
Well,
Jordan. He just, yeah.
I don't think it was coincidence that he left right about the time that I joined.
Oh, stop.
And
bro.
I was down a little bit, more than a little bit, on Michael B. I just think he's overrated.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say, Greg the First, you're misogynistic. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Come at me, bro. Okay, all right. So where we last left off was, of course, Apollo saying it's over. I love the slow motion here. It's great editing choice on Sly's part, just to have this slow motion, putting his hands to his hips, looking out to the ocean. And it's just, it could have been done in normal motion, but the slow motion has a nice effect. I don't know.
This is the point where Apollo would be like, nah, I'm doing this now. I'm stepping in. He's not serious. I'll fight. I'm serious. I'll fight Clubber Lang.
That is probably what in reality what he would be thinking.
That's a good point. Sorry. Yeah, that's good.
No, it's very true. There's a lot of musical cues in the Rocky movies, which I love. And this is one instance where I love the choice to have it not be. It's just the sound of the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Agreed. But I like that idea that Apollo would be like, yeah, I'll take on, and he would have beaten him too.
Do you
for
think?
Sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Actually, no. Yes and no. Actually, I think he would because
We can't
I don't
start a
think
whole new club. Come on.
Shut up, man.
yeah, no, I think he would. I'm going to agree with Ryan. I was initially going to say no because I'm like, is Apollo going to make the same mistake with Clubber and try and go for the knockout? But I think Clubber gets gassed way easier than Rocky. So if Apollo stretched him out past 10 rounds, forget about it. I think he'd be an easy target.
Louise brings up a good point. Got to have the slow motion to see those rear delts pop out.
Yes.
What's the matter with you?
I love that. I just love angry Apollo.
Dude, he does a great job at it.
What's the matter with you? I love that. I love how Apollo just yells in Adrian's ear. She's standing right there. I know she's covered her face just looking at Rocky, but that was loud, Carl, in her ear.
Did you guys
Okay, there's probably a deleted. Oh, sorry. You go ahead, Katie.
No, mine's stupid. It's about her ring.
Oh, mine's dumber than yours. Trust me. You go first.
Did you guys ever notice, like, I'm so endeared to her because she doesn't dress all fancy. They have tons of money at this point, and she still has just a band. She didn't upgrade to some Gigantor rock, which she could have very easily, but she doesn't.
Yeah.
She just wears regular
Doesn't
clothes.
have the same meaning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the ring he gave her, which is what matters to Adrian.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready for my stupid comment?
Can't wait.
Okay, so Rocky just lost a foot race to Apollo, and I could just see a deleted scene where Apollo is. You're not balling him, are you? Because of the women weakens legs. This is your fault, Adrian. You're.
What are you screwing, Adrian?
You here. Yeah, you balling her.
I don't see the attraction.
Apollo, this is where you big mouth.
And there is a cue of Bill Conti's music, which I got to mute a little bit because it always gets flagged on YouTube. Adrian, of course, she's going to walk over and talk to Rocky. We get a nice, great wide shot coming up here. I love this wide shot. This wide shot here, the camera's panned out, and Adrian making that long walk to Rocky. Very dainty walk. That's look at her hands as she's walking.
It is. But again, this is a bad outfit. She has decent outfits in 3, but this is a horrible outfit. They're on the beach. Why is she wearing that?
Because she's not there on vacation.
She should be wearing a bikini.
She's there on business.
No, but just, I don't know, shorts and sandals, but she has like such a frumpy outfit on. Ryan wants the bikini version.
So bad. This is peak Talia.
I have this aversion to being physically attracted to her. She's almost like a maternal figure or something in my mind.
Again, I think she's supposed to be like the Madonna figure.
That's why I want to destroy her. It is partly that. It's that librarian thing.
Oh, yeah.
Underneath those sweaters and underneath everything, she's got a tight body. Anyways, I think she's gorgeous. So I really do. I'm attracted to her. And I find her like you're saying, the non-flaunting, I find that it's sexier. Frustrating and sexy at the same time.
Yeah, I see that. But she does have like model-esque features. Like her facial features, it almost looks like she's had them done. They're so perfect.
Louise. I love Louise. Louise, he goes, I have mummy issues, so it's a green light for me. Oh, Louise. He's a character. All right, sorry. Adrian says, can I talk to you? I love that. Rocky gives a subtle nod, but I think it's so sweet that Adrian says, can I talk to you? Of course, Rocky would never say no.
I want to ask you something important, and I want you to tell me the truth.
What?
Why'd you come here?
Just don't want it no more.
That's not a good answer to that question, was it?
But that was a good question.
It is. Yeah. Why'd you come to LA? Why are we here? Why, the whole idea of you coming here was to train like Apollo. We're here, we're doing it, but why'd you come here if you're not doing it?
Yeah. He interprets her question as, why are you up so bad?
True.
Yeah. He just goes right to the point. Like she's asking because you're not doing it. She's been watching this whole failed training montage and he's not performing. So now he's saying, yeah, like you're right. He's just cutting to the chase. So I don't want it anymore.
Mike Tyson's very last professional bout, he got knocked out by some guy that he shouldn't have been, like just some nobody. And actually, I don't know if he's a nobody, but he was a nobody at the time.
Sure.
And an earlier Tyson would have just destroyed. And then they interviewed Mike after the fight. And I just don't have it anymore. I just don't want it. I could stay in shape, but I just don't have the fighting guts no more. And I'm sorry I let everybody down. It just like that same kind of dejection there. It really shows that like fighting, it's like Mickey said, is way more of a mentality than it is like just physicality.
Sure.
Great Mike Tyson impression also.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're working on it a lot.
Yeah, I dare you to do that to Mike Tyson's face.
He's pretty chill now. He'd probably be like, just tell
I
me.
know.
Worst that would happen is he'd tell me to F off. If it was like 1987 or something like that, like if I went back in time, no way, man.
Didn't he punch someone on a plane recently? Or
but
they were,
Yeah.
They were like physically accosting him.
Oh,
They
I'm
were
not.
horrible.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying. You were like, he's pretty chill now. I'm like, was he?
No, but that guy was horrible. Like legit,
Yeah.
he was being really horrible to Tyson. It was very disrespectful.
Tyson offered him some magic mushrooms before.
That's
He's like,
right.
Hey,
Yeah.
just calm down. Like it's all good. Like earlier, Tyson would have killed him immediately.
Mhm.
But I love how he assaulted the guy on the plane and he didn't have anything. Like everyone was on tight. The authorities were like, no, because the guy was just kept asking, he kept coming after me. We just
I
don't
think
need
he
that
was
kind of
touching
man.
him and stuff too. Like he was getting
Yeah.
physical. Yeah. No, that kid deserved it. He was a dork.
It's over because you want it to be over. I'm glad.
I do.
It's just, you've never quit anything since I've known.
I don't know what you want me to say.
That stung Rocky's pride a little bit because you're quitting. It's not like you. So nobody likes, especially a fighter, doesn't want to be told that they're a quitter. That's not what fighters do. Am I wrong?
I love Adrian in this scene. She's just so on point. Because I like what she said there, saying, look, if you actually want this to be over, that's fine with me. It's not like she wants him to fight Kleber, right? She really just cares about his well-being, and she's really looking out for him, and she's really cutting through his BS. I kind of like this more aggressive. Like Adrian really mixes being aggressive with being loving and caring.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she'll do it. Yeah, I was just going to say, and then Kate, please. I was going to say that aggressiveness she does in Rocky 1 against Paulie for obviously different, but she has that in her to come out and say, "Hey, what do I owe you? What do I owe you?" And she's doing something here. I want the truth. I want the truth. Go ahead, Katie.
Oh no, you guys, that's a really great point. Like she only uses it when she absolutely has to. I was just going to comment on, she's right, and I appreciate that too. Look, if it's over, great. If that's what you want, but that's not what he's doing.
She knows if he quit, that's not good for him.
Yeah, that's true.
And she knows that, and she's digging down to see, okay, why are you training like this? Like in the past, he trains crappily because of her disapproval. But she isn't giving the disapproval this time.
Yeah.
So without that, she's, what are you doing? We got to figure out what's wrong, but she can't just straight up say, why are you training like this?
Yeah, more or less, it's like what I would say. And because I'm not as eloquent as Adrian is, let's either call this fight off. Like you have two options here. We're calling the fight off right now, or get your shit in gear and train.
Yeah.
Those are your two options.
She isn't just saying that. She's not just saying shit or get off the pot. It's like saying, okay, let's figure out why. Like she's basically being this therapist.
Yeah, she's a better woman than I, because I wouldn't have the patience for it. I'd be like, we're doing this or we're not. Let's go.
Louis says it's probably her best scene in the entire series, and she looks amazing giving him the business. I agree. She looks fantastic here.
She does.
I love the dark mascara she's wearing in Rocky.
But look at her features. She's just a beautiful woman. All of her features are perfect.
The angular here, and
her lips, her nose, her eyes. Yeah,
I'm so in love with Talia in Rocky 3. It's unreal. Okay.
I do think her speech in Rocky 5 is better.
It's a better speech, but she looks haggard. No, I'm just joking.
You are not, though. You're not. It's true. Like she has like the.
She still looks very lovely, but she aged naturally, and that's what I love about her. No plastic surgery for Talia Shire in real life. I love that about her.
So yeah, are you saying like you trade her for the younger model when she? You know what I'm saying? Like you.
I'd probably pull a Sly. You get a Jennifer Flavin. Oh, I'm just joking.
Yes, I know. And I'm just like, yeah, you appreciate her natural beauty until you want to.
Though I did get remarried and I married somebody 8 years younger, so I definitely did that the second.
Yeah, you did.
It's a thing. It really is a thing. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You had to find someone with a similar maturity level.
Yeah.
Oh, she's way. It doesn't matter how. I could marry an 18-year-old who'd be more mature than me, probably.
I'm a pillar of maturity. I never say anything inappropriate or
That's
off
good.
color. So,
okay, so Rocky goes on to say, "Oh, what happened?
What happened? How did everything that was so good get so bad?
What's so bad? Tell me what?
I wrecked everything by not thinking for myself."
That's an interesting line that I don't think is talked about a lot in these movie reviews. I don't think we did it during the Going the Distance series. But he says, I wrecked everything by not thinking for myself. He's being hard on himself here because he didn't know that he wasn't not thinking for himself. It's not his fault. I hate to say it, Mickey did protect him, but by protecting Rocky, he didn't tell Rocky the whole truth. So Rocky only went with the information that he had at the time. So he was thinking for himself, but he didn't have the whole information at the time.
Ryan, it's like you made a bunch of life decisions based off some faulty information given to you. I don't know if you can relate to that at all, but
all I can say is you can only do that with the information you have. And yes, there are things that I've made choices in my life where we have all done it. We look back. If I had known then what I know now, your life would be different. That's what Rocky's saying here.
It's true, but I think we did talk about it. It is true, but I'm not fully removing blame from him because it doesn't take a genius to figure out if you're like, why is this so easy? I think we talked about it. Like, I'm winning pretty easily here. Nobody seems
blinded
to be
by his own success. Yeah. You're right, but it's also Rocky. He's a coconut. He says that he's not the brightest guy. Like, he's got a heart of gold. He does have, but
it was willful ignorance.
Ignorance. That's a good statement.
I think something that happens to you too is a celebrity, and I think this happens to almost all of them to a degree, is the more famous you get, the more you get surrounded by yes men.
Mm-hmm.
And people telling you that your shit doesn't stink, essentially. And the more people that give you honest feedback are taken out of your life. And you get this false idea of yourself. I bet he was pretty nervous on his first fight as champion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, am I just a one-hit wonder, a flash in the pan? But it's probably after a couple fights, he's okay. Sure. I'm doing pretty good. And now everyone around me is telling me I'm the best. I think you want to believe it.
Sure.
And you get caught in that trap.
Alistair said, I think Rocky knew the truth, but now he's having to face up to it, and the truth hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he knew prior to Mickey telling him. Like, maybe subconsciously.
Like deep down, yeah. I think it's like, I should have known. Yeah, he should have had a more active role in it. So he is a little bit realizing now that he has been living a lie. He's right.
And it would be interesting to see how these fights are set up. Was it just, who am I fighting? Like, how much did he outsource to Mick?
Sure. Yeah,
because I think in actuality, the fighters themselves really do have a lot of say. Like, they could fire their manager if they don't like who they're setting them up with or whatever. Also, like, one thing that they don't talk about here, depending on what belt you have, you'll have mandatory fights.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have mandatory challenges where you have to, like, it's not in reality, you can get handpicked guys for 10 fights in a row. Like, you have to have some good people. So I don't know if I necessarily believe all 10 of those guys were bums.
Yeah.
Bums, as Mickey does say. They weren't
dangerous. They weren't. That's a good point. There wasn't so much that they were all just lazy, dumb fighters. Is that it just so happens the guy that's coming up, he's dangerous. He'll knock it in the mara.
His realization of this and realizing, like, he has no confidence now. He doesn't know his own ability now. The rug is pulled out from under him, and so he's lost. Am I even a good fighter? I don't know.
Which is funny because now that I think about it, he's lost 20 fights prior to fighting Apollo. It's not like he's a stranger to, like, because there are guys that come up and they don't lose fights. Like, you have guys who are heavyweight contenders and they're like 30-0 or 30-0-1 or something like that. Or if they did have a loss, it was in their amateur career, really early in their professional career, but otherwise they're kicking ass, taking names the whole time, and then they finally get stopped by someone and they don't know how to deal with it. Where Rocky has faced losses before, albeit to much lower, when he was basically a different person. So you could argue that anything prior to Apollo doesn't really count. But the loss itself, I have a hard time believing that it was necessarily that traumatic for him. I think it's the way he lost. He got viciously and brutally knocked out in a way he probably has never been before.
Yeah.
Why couldn't Mickey tell me where I was really at right from the start? He didn't have to carry me and lie to me and make me think I was better than I really was when I wasn't.
He never lied.
I don't know. We don't want to hammer it too much, but that again, that's what was presented. That's what we think as an audience, that all these fights were just handpicked and Rocky was lied to. But I agree with what you're saying, Kyle. In the real world of boxing, they can't all be that way. There has to be some sort of legitimate fights that Rocky has to face as champion. Like they just can't constantly be like, we're gonna fight this guy from this. We're gonna fight this guy from over here. Like it has to be legit. Hey, these guys are the next people to fight for the belt. They're just not arbitrarily picked.
Yeah, and there are fights that they openly state this is like a tune-up fight for me.
Sure.
Like I'm like this guy's not going to win unless by some fluke. Like Muhammad Ali had that. I can't, like later in his career, I can't take all these tough fights this late in my career. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so there you go.
Like,
that's probably part of what this is mimicking. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
of course.
Adrian, yes. So Adrian says he never lied.
Those fights weren't right. They weren't, Adrian. I never fought anybody who was all in their prime. I was always some angle to hold on to the title longer than I should have had it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. He said he didn't fight anyone in their prime. That I found odd because there's a difference between fighting a lower caliber fighter and a fighter not in his prime. Like he could have fought someone in their prime, but their prime just isn't that good.
Yeah.
Right? But
Semantics.
What about his prime?
It makes it
What about
sound
his
like
prime?
yeah, exactly.
At least you had a prime.
It
Yeah,
makes it
like,
sound
that's
like
the
he's
thing,
fighting
yeah.
someone he's fighting all these people who are over the hill or something,
Yeah, it does.
or
But in
really,
theory,
or have 8 fights under their belt or something. You know what I mean?
It is odd. But it's against the Rocky timeline universe. Doesn't really make sense because what about my prime? Mick, at least you had a prime. So according to Rocky, 2 movies later, now he's in his prime. Okay.
He is from a championship.
Physique.
Yeah, that too.
Look, I would have preferred to have fewer fights and had the title for a shorter duration if it was like authentic.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Alistair brings up a very good point. That's right. One of the opponents was Frank Stallone. That's true. That's true. Oof.
Yeah, they were
Frank
bums.
Stallone.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I take it all back now.
Do you understand what I'm saying here?
I understand, but you've got to understand that he loved you and that was his job, protecting you.
Look, that protecting don't help nothing. It only makes things worse. You wake up after a few years thinking you're a winner, but you're not.
Now, are we led to believe that Adrian knew this was happening, or was she just as surprised by this?
No, I think she knew. She knew.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Because
think
it's alluded to. It's alluded
anyone
to
in the know
earlier.
would know.
I don't think Mickey had a conversation with her about it, but in the same way that if you're paying attention and you have a brain, which she does, you'd know.
So she just allowed Mickey to do the job that she was happy with that because she's
Yes.
dancing in the fights. Remember,
Yes.
she's dancing in the stands, and
And this would be all in the media too. Like, you don't think boxing analysts wouldn't figure out
That's
that,
what-
why is this
that's-
guy only
yes.
fighting schmucks, right?
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Like,
So
you'd
we're
be
led to believe that
criticized.
he never read the paper. Like he just never.
Or like a post-fight interview, someone's gonna be like, "Hey, when are you gonna fight someone good?"
Yeah, there is no post fight analysis that Rocky's aware of. He just goes
just-
about his day.
He just
go
takes the
home and I
softball
watch
questions.
Minions and stuff.
Do you want to say anything derogatory about this fight?
Yeah, it would great.
You're really a loser. And so we wouldn't have had the title as long. So what? At least it would have been real, Adrian.
It was real.
Nothing is real if you don't believe in who you are.
That's what? What? That doesn't make it. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it does. What doesn't make sense about it?
Okay, he says that his 3-year reign of 10 title
Right.
defenses wasn't
Sure.
real because they were handpicked. And then she says it was real. And then he says, nothing is real if you don't believe in who you are. Like, good people and not believe in who you are. Like that, I don't know what that means.
But in this particular instance, he has recently found out.
He's retconning the events because you're both right. This is the problem with this scene, I think, because he's retconning the history. Now, during that time, he believed in who he was. Now he's saying, now I don't. It should have been written a little bit better. He's just saying, I don't believe in myself right now. I'm not the fighter I thought I was. I like, because Adrian's saying it was real. You lived it, and you were on top of the world. Mickey protected you. That's all real. They just weren't the Clubber Lang fights that is coming up, but those were real fights. That's what Adrian said. They were real fights. You fought real people. You won, but they were there to protect you. Like, you could have lost, but you happened to win them. And for him to feel validated as a fighter, they got to be Clubber Langs, every single one of them. And he says, that's fine if they are. Then I lose, but I lose to the best. In his mind, he just has to fight Apollo Creed all the time.
I think he's just expressing how he's feeling, and he doesn't believe in himself anymore. He doesn't know who he is anymore. And he's saying, that's what's wrong. You asked me what's wrong. That's what's wrong. I'm pissed right now.
Okay, I could take that. Basically, he just changed the subject because they were arguing about whether the 3 years was legitimate or not.
That's what I was trying to say, is they were real. It just, the spin was, there were fights that Mickey felt very comfortable with. That's all. So what are we looking at? It wasn't like there were guaranteed wins. I think we're led to believe that the story's trying to say, the movie's saying that all these wins were guaranteed. That's not the point. There were fights that Mickey felt comfortable to train Rocky for.
I think they're both true. I think he's just saying, I thought I was better than I was. I thought I was easily beating really good fighters. And I'm finding out that's not true. And when I go up against somebody who really means business, I realize it's gone. I don't have it. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm lost.
Yeah, like, he doesn't realize that basically his fight strategy is to take a beating till his opponent gets tired and then sneak a knockout in at the end.
Yeah.
If you do that 10 more times, you're going to be a vegetable, which kind of happens. But no one told him that. And I actually agree with Rocky. I think what Mickey did was not right. I think he should have been like, look, if you keep fighting, you're going to get messed up. I think he should have quit being his manager earlier, frankly. Or just said, okay, look, if you want to take these tough fights, you have a real risk of getting hurt. It's up to you. I like the idea of Rocky being able to decide his own destiny for the 3 years instead of have someone pull the wool over his eyes.
But if you're in Mickey's shoes, you do the same. And that's what Adrian's saying. Mickey didn't want him even to fight Apollo again. He did feel like it was his job to protect him. They developed a father-son relationship. I can see why he wouldn't want to walk away.
Yes, I agree. I could see why Mickey did that. Because say Mickey walked away as being his manager and Rocky continued to fight on his own and then got hurt.
Right.
And then you feel bad. So it's okay. Let's just protect him and hopefully he'll just retire eventually instead of have the title taken from him.
I think that Mama Sam P has the perfect bow for this. She says, I suspect Rocky has imposter syndrome.
I agree.
Yeah, Mama P, great comments. And I want to read Alistair's and Louis as well because they brought up some good points. Adrian's the brains of the operation. She used Agent Mickey to handpick the opponents. Louise brings up a great point as well. He says Rocky himself was an underqualified champion, so he wasn't expected to hold the belt that long. It's certainly plausible that the media focused on Rocky's meteoric rise from club fighter to world beater and gave him a pass in the overall level of competition he was facing. So that's a good point too, is this fun Cinderella narrative. Let him be at the ball, dancing at the ball, as long as it went well past midnight in Rocky's career. But everyone just ate it up that this rags to riches story was just too much fun to criticize. So maybe they gave him a pass. So that's good.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. Now, do you guys have time to do the training montage, or how are you looking for time? I don't want to. We can make it a shorter episode.
Well, we budgeted for usually it's an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, we're
not quite an hour into it, so
yeah.
Okay, no, that's fine with me. I don't have the book. Remember,
he's saying we have more time since we didn't do trivia.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, we'll say that. We'll say I didn't forget that Ryan didn't have the book.
No, because I thought he said we're still have to do trivia.
Yes, that is what I said. Katie, you guys look good. Now you fucking
you know what it is? I don't hear very well. Honestly, I'm Mickey in our trio here. I miss things a lot. Yeah.
Hey, long hair, high hearing aids. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not too far off from them, honestly.
I hear stupid things better with it.
I missed to listen to way too loud of music. Busted out my eardrums or something.
That's not good.
I don't believe in myself no more. Don't you understand? When a fighter don't believe, that's it. He's finished. It's over. That's it.
That's not it!
That is it?
Why don't you tell me the truth?
What are you putting me through, Adrian? You want to know the truth? The truth is I don't want to lose what I got. In the beginning, I didn't care about what happened to me. I go in the ring, I get busted up. I didn't care. But now there's you, there's the kid. I don't want to lose what I got.
What do we have that can't be replaced? What? A house. We got cars. We got money. We got everything but the truth. What's the truth, damn it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, this doesn't make sense either to me now. This is ruining the scene for me a little bit.
No, it isn't.
So he says, I didn't care what happened to you before. I get busted up, but now I have you. I have the kid. And then Adrian says, what do we have that cannot be replaced? And then she talks about cars and money and whatnot. But he wasn't talking about that stuff. He was talking about getting busted up, about getting physically injured, which is something Adrian should be very sensitive to. Given the Adrian we saw last film, right? Would she not be worried that Clubber would mess his eye up like Apollo would have? It really seems to me like her retort there was not answering what he was saying, even though what he's saying is a lie.
It's disconnected for sure. Because
I think
he
she
doesn't
said
want to
that.
lose what I got. What I got is the kid.
Yeah, because if he fights Clubber, they have more of that shit. Because he's going to get a huge payday. This is what doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've got another video that I'm going to put together. Just came to me, my little quick videos I'll do, where she goes, we got cars, we got money. Then I cut to Rocky 5 and then do the Curb Your Enthusiasm. They lose it all. Just wait one more film there, Adrian. You'll lose it. Yeah.
Just Balboa, you like reaching your hand into your pocket and only feeling your leg.
Oh, God, you've been working on your Duke.
I've been practicing
That's
it in the house and my family's getting annoyed with me.
Good acting by both of them. I think Rocky does angry really well. And this is good. We've already talked about Adrian. But my ridiculous comment was just about still you have it paused on is this beautiful shoulder.
Yeah, he looks fantastic. I know. But I
How can
will
you not
say,
believe in yourself with a body like that?
No shit.
okay, so we'll finish this scene here, so we'll get to the montage. But I will say this scene has always, before I did the podcast, obviously, I've watched this movie 100 times. It still doesn't make sense to me. Meaning, at the end of the day, like, I don't know how Adrian knew there was more to get out of her. I know she gets it out of, but does she know that he was afraid?
Yeah.
Because she's okay.
That's my thought.
I'm a little confused how well she, like, look, I know they're married and they're a couple, and I know she gets him to say that. It's just funny how she just didn't say, are you afraid? It's okay to be afraid. But it's like she does get to that after he admits it. I understand there's a psychology behind that. I guess what I'm saying too is, I don't know. It's an odd conversation. I find the whole conversation oddly paced, and the way they're talking to each other, it doesn't feel like a real natural I know it's a great scene. I know that him saying he's afraid and her getting him out of this funk is a great moment in the film. But the actual dialogue of how they're communicating seems odd. It seems disjointed.
Yeah.
Like he's saying stuff, and then I feel like they're both saying different, they're talking to different people about different things, but they're both talking. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of those things in film where they have to move it along because you don't have 45 minutes to watch that conversation lay out. But what I do like about this is this does remind me of when me and my spouse will have, we'll say a fight, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a fight. Where we really get down to what's going on, and we both know each other, and you have to go through the layers of bullshit, and then you finally get down to what's real, and you work something out. There's something kind of magical about that, and I think this scene, despite like how it's disjointed that way, I really criticized some of it earlier. What I really like about this scene is it really has that spirit in it. It has the spirit of them as a couple working together on something, and like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Afraid! All right? You want to hear me say it? You want to break me down? All right, I'm afraid. For the first time in my life.
I'm afraid too.
Is that the first time in his life he's afraid?
No, but I think it's just something he says. Or like afraid to get hurt, maybe, is what he means.
Afraid to lose it. Yeah, I think the average viewer, and I know I was guilty of this, but we've watched this so many times, I think we're just led to believe he's afraid to face Clubber again.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
he's talking about he's afraid to lose everything, to be a bum on the neighborhood again. Don't worry, Rocky V's coming. He'll be all those things again. So the idea is that overall he's afraid to lose it all. He's on top of the world. He's a champion of the world. What will his life be when he's not the champ? Or theoretically he's not now, but he will be again. But the point is that he's on top of the world. What will he be if he loses this fight again? So
I think essentially he's emasculated in his mind. I don't think he actually is emasculated, but I think in his mind he's been emasculated a bit. He's been outmuscled and beat up by this guy, a guy that talked about banging his wife and talked shit to him. This guy talked shit to him, kicked his ass easily, and having to admit to your wife that you're afraid of another man is very emasculating. I think that's why it's so hard for him to say that. There's something freeing when you say the words. Like you finally release what you're feeling there. It helps you work it out and to move on.
Nothing wrong with being afraid.
There is. For me, there is.
Why, you're human, aren't you?
Look, I don't know what I am. All I know is I'm a liar. And because of that, Mickey ain't here no more.
we're back to that again. He's a
Yeah.
liar.
And it's because of that. Because of me, Mickey ain't here no more.
Yeah.
Why is he a liar? I don't know. It's not
Yeah.
like he handpicked the fights and that it's not like I finally admit I've been living as a fraud, but I think it's like the imposter syndrome.
Yes,
That's what your mom was saying.
talking about.
So-
Yeah.
He's
So maybe
not
he's
being
lying.
literal. He's not being literal. I feel like I've been living a lie. I'm
Right,
feeling this way.
And because of that, Mick's not here anymore.
It's just he has guilt over Mickey's death. I think is just yeah.
You didn't push him into anything. He was a grown man and he did what he had to do. And you have no right to feel guilty for what happened. You don't. You were
There
a
you go.
champion. And you did what you were expected to do. And you did what I and everybody else thought you should do.
There you go. See, she
Yeah.
was behind it. Yeah. I knew there was something in the film. There was. I think she knew what was going on with
I don't think
so-
that's what she's saying here. She's just saying.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
actually don't think she's admitting that she knew. She's just saying we all expected this of you,
Okay.
and you did it
All
because that's what you're expected to do. You're the champion, and yeah. What do you think, Kyle? Do you think she knew? Do you think that's what she's saying here?
I think logically she knew. And the reason
Yeah.
I'm saying that
I think
The
she
reason I'm saying that
did.
is
But
because if he was going up against another Apollo type, I think her real worry would be he's going to get hurt again. But she was going along with these fights, which leads me to believe, I think, somewhere in her mind, even if she wasn't actively involved in handpicking these people, I think deep down she knew, okay,
yes.
he'll be okay. I think, or else they would have been fighting the whole time.
Sorry, my question, I phrased it incorrectly. Yes, I also believe that. But do you believe that she's saying that?
You do what I and everyone else thought you should. No, because that implies everyone else
Yeah.
knew they were handpicked, which I don't think is true. I don't think he'd have that popularity. I think he did all the moves he's supposed to do as a champion.
Yeah. I
Right?
think me and
That's all she's
Kyle
saying.
win. Ryan loses.
It's fine. That's fine. I'm always wrong. I'm always all my conspiracies, all my theories are always.
Hey, I
I'm
agree with
thinking-
you thing at the beginning about the slide thing.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just saying I've always been led to believe that whether she was in cahoots with Mickey, I think she always knew. And I think there might have been discussion. I can almost see Mickey and her at like having an knowing glance or some sort of discussion or something. I see it in my mind. My mind's eye plays that out. Now, obviously, it was
Yeah.
never on film.
Oh,
so we
well,
don't
I'm
know.
sorry. Maybe what I'm trying to differentiate is I think we're all in agreement that she knew. Whether or not it was like in
Yeah.
cahoots or not is another story. But here, I thought what you were saying, Ryan, is she's admitting to that in what she
Yeah.
says here. And I think Kyle and I are saying that's not what she's saying. She's just saying
Oh,
you're doing what you were expected to do.
sure. Okay.
And you want to tell me that those fights weren't real? That you were carried? I don't believe it. Doesn't matter what I believe because you're the one that's got to carry that fear around inside you. Afraid that everybody's going to take things away. Afraid you're going to be remembered as a coward. That you're not a man anymore. None of it's true. It doesn't matter if I tell you. It doesn't matter because you're the one that's got to settle it. Get rid of it. Because when all the smoke is cleared and everyone's through chanting your name, it's just going to be us. And you can't live like this. We can't live like this.
A very passionate speech here, and this is funny. It's reminiscent of the speech later that Rocky gives to his son and Rocky Balboa. The idea of to keep pushing through life. I know it's the Sunshine and Rainbow speech, but the idea that you're living through fear, or you're living that shadow. You got to start doing what people tell you that you are. You're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. That's what she's saying here. She's saying the same thing. Once people are done saying your name or chant your name, it's just you. You are you. You've got to be you and be happy about who you are. And then at the end of the day, yes, she's saying, you're my husband. Like that's, I didn't marry you because you're going to be the champ of the world. I married you because I love Rocky. In fact, when I married you, you were not a boxer anymore. So she's focused on their marriage, and she's saying to him, at the end of the day, we're married and you're my husband. That's all I care about. It's just us, because they're going to be done chanting your name. It will end. It always does. It goes on to somebody else, and it's just going to be us.
Yeah, and I like what she's going to say right after this about whether he wins or loses.
This is going to bother you for the rest of your life. Look what it's doing to you now. Paula thinks you can do it. So do I. But you gotta want to do it for the right reasons. Not for the guilt over Mickey. Not for the people. Not for the title. Not for money or me. But for you. Just you alone.
You hear that musical key in the background? It's the song that You Take My Heart Away.
Yeah.
It's that song. So it's from the Rocky One, the song of it's like the Rocky Adrian kind of theme song of You Take My Heart.
It's their song. Ryan, what do you like Rocky's hair blown in the wind?
It's amazing. I love how he's really fluffed it out the front there. Hey, don't pay attention to that receding hairline. Let me just fluff it out the front here. I love it. Again, I love how the hair we see in Rambo Part 5, it's creeped forward. I've never seen hairline go forward. It's amazing. I've never said, Kyle, does your hairline go forward as you get older? Like
I'm going bald widow peak since I've been born.
Oh, so it's not going forward.
No.
Okay. That's weird. I guess Italians, their hair goes forward when they get bald. Both him and Frank, their
Italians never get bald.
Yeah.
They're very well known for not going bald.
Okay,
we're just gonna go with that.
And we're gonna end it after the scene after all, guys, which is fine. So we're hours in, which is good. Just because you have to keep in mind I work another 12-hour shift tomorrow, and it's 10:30 at night for me. So it's for me as well, and I don't want to be tired. I want to go through the montage and break it out, and that'd be a fun standalone episode. Okay,
don't podcast for the audience or for Katie.
Yeah, I know.
Podcast for you because
I am doing it for me. I don't want to shortchange the audience because I'm in between 2 12-hour days here. So okay.
And if I lose?
Did you lose?
And you lose. But at least you lose with no excuses. No fear. And I know you can live with that.
Basically, she's telling him do it right. You know what? Make a decision. Do it here. Train the right way. And if you lose, but at least you know you gave it your all. There's nothing worse than living your life thinking that you could have done better. If I would have just done this. It's if you want to ask someone out and then you're too afraid to ask because you're worried they'll reject you. And then it's if you get rejected, but at least you know where you stand instead of wondering if something ever could have happened. It reminds me of that, but obviously more serious than that.
How'd you get so tough?
I live with a fighter.
I thought the word choice was an interesting one, though.
What's that?
I live with a fighter, not I married a fighter. I love a fighter. I just thought that was different.
It is interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. I live with a fighter. Yeah, you're right, because that's written, and that's what she said, or at the very least, that's what she said. Alistair says that the hair plugs wouldn't have survived the breeze on the beach. That's
no, I think he does. This is his hair still for sure. It does.
Oh, this is. Yeah, this is his hair. No,
this is his hair. Yeah,
I've always said I think it was Rocky 3 I think it's Rocky 3 that we see the last of his hair.
Oh, you don't think in Rocky 4?
I don't
say it's his hair, but is it his head hair?
It's his hair.
Is it transplanted from somewhere else?
No, I'm like very certain that Rocky 3 Rocky is his hair. And that's that's coming from his scalp. He grew it.
He has great hair in this one. I like it.
Yeah, it's hanging on.
He also has really beautiful lips. I like his like weird crooked smile. No?
Oh yeah,
Nobody?
it's adorable. It's his signature look. He's made a career out of it. He said it himself. He's made a career out of that mess up when he got
So
born.
thank you to the doctor who yanked his head out.
But
roughly
there,
with
I
those
don't know.
words.
I don't know. There's somebody else. You have to know what I mean when they show the way. I don't know. I like it. It looks good.
There's beauty in so-called imperfections.
I agree. If somebody's too
know.
perfect, they're generic looking, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
That's probably why I'm so generic looking.
I really love you.
I really love you too. Oh yeah. Okay, so I really want to do the montage, but I know we're gonna have a lot
Yeah.
to say. I don't want to rush because there's no way we're gonna do the montage in 20 minutes. I don't think it's possible. We'll have too much to say. But the great fun discussion as always, guys. I love our discussions and I love not our disagreements is the right word because I think I like that we challenge each other. There's other podcasts. I won't say other podcasts, but there's other podcasts that I listen to or I'm aware of where they just can't challenge each other. They just say the same thing. That was great. That was wonderful. Yeah, that was great. That was wonderful. That's amazing. That it's like offer us something, have a discussion, say something, challenge each other, push each other's like when I say stuff, you guys will change my mind or I'll change your mind. It happens on our show. And I like that we do that, if something said that's wait a minute, Ryan, that's not quite right, or that's what are you trying to we're not just saying things. I like that because when we do that, I guess what I'm trying to say is when we do that to each other, the three of us, that our listeners are engaged because I think we're doing the same thing for them is I'll say something that Katie doesn't agree with, let's say. I'm sure there's listeners that don't agree with me either. And so she's voicing those thoughts for those listeners. And then when I fight back, I'm then voicing the thoughts of the listeners who agree with me or whatever.
Yeah,
Kyle, do you have anything derogatory to say about Ryan?
He's great. He's the best.
Oh, man. Yeah. No, you guys are very kind. You guys are very kind. Again, rate us on iTunes, guys. I know I always say that, but it does help. You just go on your app. iTunes, I just say I've done the stats. It's 90% of the downloads are from iTunes. If you watch this on YouTube, give the video a like. That helps too. It's free, right? And actually, I listened to a podcast, and I love what this guy says. I'm going to totally butcher it. Oh, what does he say? He says people, when they go on the internet, they either spend time or money. And he says, you spend your time with me, so thank you. So I don't ask for money. I do have a Patreon, so if you want to support it, that would be very grateful. I'd be very grateful for that. But if you can't support the Patreon, then you're supporting me with your time. And I want to say thank you, guys. That's important to us, that you actually have taken the time to listen to us.
You know what? Time doesn't pay those hosting fees, people. This is my tough love speech that Ryan can edit out. Listen, you freeloaders. We all know who you are. The least you could do is go on iTunes or wherever you review. Give us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
Ryan's toiling for this shit. He pays a lot of money for it, a lot of time editing. You know how many times he has to edit out things I say in the podcast that are not appropriate? A lot. So
that's what the Patreon's for. That's what the Patreon's for. So if you listen to this on your feed and not live, you get to listen to the raw unedited stuff.
Either get on the Patreon, which I don't see a cent of, and I'm totally cool with that, or give the review.
I think we should try and come up with the version of I'm sure you guys have seen it, like the rescue version is please adopt. If you can't adopt, foster. If you can't foster, donate. If you can't donate, or whatever the thing is, like there's always, if you can't do that, share. If you can't do, there's always something you could do to help.
I want to see a video of Ryan editing, and then it's in the arms of the angels.
Trust me.
For $5 a month, you can save Ryan for
and I always forget to do this for Katie. Katie has her own podcast. Katie, plug your other podcast. Yes.
I have a show called Retromade. And if you like 80s and 90s pop culture, you should join. This season is all about Patrick Swayze and Kurt Russell. And one of the episodes that is soon to come out, our Mr. Frank Stallone is in it.
Frank Stallone's in it?
I think you should know. I recorded it. It hasn't come out yet.
Tombstone?
Uh-huh.
Oh, who did you do Tombstone with?
Guess you'll have to find out. You said you didn't want to.
Okay, slow down, gear down, big. It's my favorite Western of all time. I could talk your ear. I could do literally right now. Let's go. I could talk about Tombstone, almost, if not better than Rocky. I've seen that movie so many. I love Tombstone. Like I love it so much. It's the best Western ever. And anyways, mini plug, I am going to do my Western podcast. I am going to do this. There are people that listen to this who are looking forward to that. It's going to happen. Tombstone's going to be on there. It's going to probably be the premiere movie that I cover. It's going to be done like we do with these films, but a little bit like shorter. Like I'm going to do 3 to 5 episodes per movie. But anyways, the reason why I turned it down, Katie, is because I didn't want to talk about it on your show and then have it do it on my podcast.
I was just teasing, but
I want to do it so bad.
I did. You're probably going to hate listening to the episode. Then.
I was going to say this. I'm going to listen to whoever's covering it. They're not going to do it any justice. I'm sorry. They're just not going to do it any justice. Forward to seeing.
I can tell you right now that it is neither of ours favorite movie of all time. Obviously, it's not mine, but.
I don't mean favorite.
I don't have a favorite movie of all time.
But what do you give it out of 10? What did you give Tombstone out of 10?
I don't do that.
I know, but I'm asking you on this show. What would you
out
rate
of
it
10?
Fresh rating, whatever. A, B, C, D.
I would give it a 6.5 or a 7. What I love about it, there are things I love about it, but there's a lot of problems with it too. The cast is wonderful. Really great cast. Was a little disjointed. The script needed to be longer, but then it was too long. Like it wasn't tight enough. There were certain parts of it that needed more time to breathe, but then the movie itself was a little long anyway, in comparison to Rocky.
Right.
Like it's really hard to find things wrong with Rocky, and it's not that hard to find things wrong with Tombstone.
You're right. Tombstone should have almost been a miniseries because there's so much going on. It's very full. It's overfilling with characters and side stories. And there is a bigger cut. And that you're getting me all like geeking out here. There is a longer cut. There is so much on the chopping block or whatever that didn't make the cut.
Sure, but that wasn't the final product. Right?
No, I know, and that's unfortunate. And so your criticism is accurate. I could see why you'd say that. Mm-hmm. So I get that. I also have a lot of nostalgia for it because I saw it for the first time when I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
And just
I
everything.
See that.
Well, of course, there's films that you love. They're not a perfect film, but you love them subjectively. Right. In fact, I listen to your podcast. There's no way you think certain films that you enjoy a lot are objectively great films, but you love them subjectively.
Yes.
That's Tombstone.
And I wasn't hard on it. But I don't think it doesn't make my top 50.
Interesting. Wow. People that love Westerns love this film. So I don't know how much you like. Do you like Westerns in general?
No. So that's probably part of it. But I have.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But I have seen other Westerns.
Oh, I know. But it's a genre that people love. It's like music. There's certain music genres that people love. So Western movies are a genre. There's something aesthetically about them that people just gravitate towards.
I love the cast. I wasn't hard on it. I don't dislike it. That's a pretty good star rating for me. 6.5 or 7 out of 10. That's a B-.
7 out of 10 is decent. Yeah. Like I would say, if you're going to go 7, that's a B-.
Yeah. So that's pretty good.
It's not horrible. No, it's
if
not
Rocky
horrible.
For me is a 10 and Tombstone is a 6.5 or a 7, that's still pretty good.
Well, guys, I got to get running right now.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But you guys continue on. I don't want to.
Yeah.
No, I was just.
And have a good week.
You too.
Well, we're recording again in a couple weeks. I guess a couple weeks.
I'll send you.
Christmas, huh?
Yeah, we're doing the 27th was a tentative date, but I'll send you.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. That's right.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Both episodes in December for my show are big anniversaries. Like I wanted to release them on their. One of them is the 40th anniversary, and Tombstone. It's on Christmas Day. Is its 30th anniversary.
So again, it's called the Retro Made Podcast. Katie hosts this. It's a bi-weekly podcast, just like our Rocky podcast is bi-weekly. She does a great job. She has incredible guests that come on. She's really networked her show out there. Networking your show is a great idea. I did that with the Rambo podcast, but then I just stuck with Dom because he's the best.
It's a lot more work, I will say.
It is. That's what it was. My gosh. And now with Dom, I was like, I wish I did the whole thing with Dom, but that's okay. Yeah. It's okay. Anyway, so that being said, no, it's great. And that's 90% of its nostalgia. You're watching Tombstone for the first time. Is that what it was?
It is if I was. I know I've seen it before, but I remembered so
Right.
little from it
Sure,
that
sure.
it may as
That's
well
fair.
have been. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So, in that, again, fair arguments. Don't get me wrong, and that's a discussion I'll save for my podcast because there are things about it that are not perfect on a
Mhm.
filmmaker's point of view. Because, long story short, the director sucked. He got
Oh,
fired.
we talked
Okay,
about
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so that's part of the disjointedness. Was the production was disjointed? It wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a disjointed production, but everyone brought their A game. I think with what they had is how I look at it. Yeah, but I
Yeah,
get it.
and I love Mason Kerr and Sam Elliott.
It's amazing.
I mean,
Like
and
you got
Sam
Kurt Russell with
Elliott?
eyeliner. You got Kurt Russell with eyeliner. What
Yeah.
more do you want? What more? Did
Yeah.
you mention the eyeliner?
We just know, but we mentioned that Dana Delaney is. I'll take one of those when she looks at him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's great.
No, we
yeah,
didn't talk about the eyeliner. Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, he wears eyeliner throughout the film. But anyways, yeah, it's a great film. I can't wait to talk about it. But and I can't wait to hear your episode. Retro Made Podcast. Katie's amazing, and everyone, thanks for watching us and listening to our little Tombstone discussion at the end. All right,
Preview
Katie.
for your new show.
Yeah, that's right. No, not a preview for my new podcast. A plug for your current one. So check
Both.
out. There you go. Both. Okay. But Katie, that's it. This episode is over.
I didn't hear no bell.
I just want to say